So I'm just going to explain how I use my paper and place the pre-cut sections on the piece. So this is an E section, E1 and E2. I turn it over to the back. I've pre-folded along the line that I'm going to sew. And I take my E1 fabric and I place it so it covers the seam allowances. I then fold the E2 section back, holding everything in place. And I'll now place the E2 fabric face to face so it covers the section that I'm going to sew. Because I've pre-cut this, I know that this will be covered around here. So then I can open it back up again and sew along this seam line, and it will be correct. The same applies for the F section. You take your first fabric and place it over. One thing I meant to say is that you could use a dab of glue just to hold this in place, not too much. You fold along the seam line so it's folded back, and this gives you the angle to work with to make sure that when you place this fabric over, it's going to cover everything that you want to be covered with the fabric. I'll then open that out and sew it on this side. This is where sometimes I do pin these smaller sections. What I have done, in fact, is pre-pin everything because I was out with the kids and I could do it in bulk while I couldn't be at my machine. So I'll just run those through the machine and I'll chain piece it. So the last thing we need to do this week is join our E and our F sections together along this seam here. You'll also do the equivalent of those if you're doing a double curve. So I take my E section, my F section, I'll approximately line them up along the seam line. Don't know if that's actually right, but it's just approximate. Locator pin in the corner, push it right through. Nowhere near the right place, but that's fine because I'll just adjust it to put it in there. Not quite right, as expected. Hopefully this is focusing. These will now be lined up. I tend to take another pin, just pop it through, so while I'm moving it to the machine and removing these pins, so I can just sew this seam. So once this is sewn, open it up, take the paper off, and I tend to press this seam open just to try and reduce the bulk.